Good afternoon, everyone. It is a great pleasure for me to welcome you all to our symposium. To the first day of our symposium, Martius Revisited 3, Global Health in a Planetary Age. It has been an honor to organize this event in my role as a holder of the Martius Chair, which is based at USP and funded by the German DAAD Academic Exchange Service, and whose function is precisely to connect research in the interdisciplinary area of sustainability studies between Germany and Brazil. Before I open this wonderful event to our guests and to you in the audience, and online to discuss the themes of the event, I want to briefly explain why the first part of the title of the event is the famous Martius Revisited 3. I inaugurated the Martius Revisited series last year with the aim of retracing the trajectory of a chair that is among the oldest of the current 26 chairs at the University of São Paulo, founded in 2001. So it's been 24 years, which is also particular, also from the DAAD point of view, because among the six chairs that take the name of a scientist, four of which are in South America, it stands out for having changed its title 3 times in its history, going from the von Martius Chair in Ecology, at the time inaugurated by the climatologist and geographer Dieter Eimhoff, to the Martius Chair of German and European Studies, to the current thematic one, and we're at the more recent step. The it was inaugurated in 2020, but activated with my arrival, and it is on humanities and sustainability. In addition to retracing the disciplinary intellectual trajectory of the chair, the Martius Revisited series also proposed revisiting or reevaluating the legacy of European ecological thinking in the light of contemporary debates on nature and culture. That was the first Martius Revisited event. We also did the second event, a proposal that brings together debates on the global health. That was Martius 2. And currently, our proposal is to gather the debate on plurality of worldviews and pragmatic practices of healing the planet. In addition to the origins of the Martius Chair in climatology, there's another reason why it is interesting to revisit the topic of global health from this chair. This has to do with Martius himself. Few people know that the German Carl Friedrich Philipp von Martius, an European naturalist whose famous 3-year journey through Brazil in between 1817 and 1820 leaves traces to this day in botany, but also in other areas, from the critical approaches of the human and social sciences. Martius, as well as being a botanist, was also selected to explore Brazil because of his training as a doctor. Now, I'd like to wrap up the explanation part and why did we choose this name and how it is connected to revisiting the debates on global health, with a quote from the book Viagem pelo Brasil, where Martius and his colleague Spex published a report of their journey. The book was published in 1823. I will read a stretch in which Martius describes what he observed when he left São Paulo, when he crossed São Paulo during his trip, and continued traveling towards the south of Brazil. And there he found an interesting figure, the famous healer. So I'll read the stretch. Likewise, the sertanejo is remarkable for his perfect knowledge of the medicinal plants of his land, especially the women. Among the inhabitants of his province have a reputation for great proficiency in the practice of medicine. In almost every house, one or other performs the functions of a healer, which are not disputed by any doctor or surgeon. And continues further down the page. At the end of the page, Martius continues. Also, the fact that these home remedies are used for medicinal purposes, mostly fresh brands, is of great importance. Whereas in Europe, being further removed from nature due to the different way of life, this circumstance is perhaps not appreciated enough. I will not interpret the situation. I will just wrap it up with a few questions. What does this quote bring us on the occasion of an event that proposes to revisit global health issues in an era of planetary thinking? The gourds provoke us to think about health beyond the human, to think about our relationships with the environment and how this impacts our health, and to question the knowledge of medicine in the European tradition in dialogue with ancestral knowledge such as of the famous healer women. I am very curious to understand how our dear interpreters are translating healer, curandeira. I'll leave these questions here as a provocation. Dear attendees and panelists, and I'll return to my role as an organizer. I would like to share with you a brief summary of the program for the first day. Okay, it's brief, but for those of you who are watching us online, it'll make your lives easier. So we'd like to share it with you. So, after the opening, we'll have Katharina and Sergio speak to. Then we'll move on to the keynote lectures by Professors Christoph Schneider and Paulo Atacho, and the mediation of Gabriela Marquesti. And then we'll have the exhibition of Planetary Health, about beginnings and endings, with the German, Brazilian, French team of artists who are a part of the exhibition and are partners from the group Planetary Health Brazil. Before I say a few words to my colleagues Katharina Fourier and Sergio Proença, I'd like to express some important thanks. First of all, I'd like to thank from the bottom of my heart to the Centro de Estudos da Amazônia Sustentável, CEAS, represented here by Paulo, Gabriela, and Yolanda, and they were unbelievably supportive, very open. And it is an honor for me to collaborate with you. I'd like to also thank my fellow co-organizers from the universities of Berlin, colleagues some of them are present here, our colleagues Nora, Christian, who's not here, but they're both representing Freie University in Berlin, and Jan Hock, who's not here, representing his university. And I'd also like to thank Christian Wilhelm, Valerie Pop, and Brita, who organized the event with me from day one. I'd like to thank DWIH, the German Center for Science and Innovation in São Paulo, for their partnership and their support for this important event. I know Marcio is here, as well as Silke and Pamela. Without you, obviously, the event would not have been possible, so I'd like to thank you for the partnership. I'd also like to thank Nina, Yule, who are catering for the exhibition outside, probably Lucia as well. They are also key in the organization of the exhibition and the team of artists that collaborate with them. Thank you. I'd like to thank Asri, Carolina, Potira, and a special thanks for Milena, who also supported the event. She's from DAAD. So I had great help. I'd like to thank my colleague and dear friend Lucio Teles, who will be performing the interviews. And thank you, Priscila, Esther, and Amalia, three empowered women who take care of the technical aspect, the interpreting, and the food. Last but not least, thank you so much, Katharina and Sergio Proença, Director of Alcani, the Agency for National and International Academic Cooperation in the University of São Paulo, the main partner for the collaborations of many of us here. He works with the collaborations interpersonal and student level between Brazil and Germany. Thank you, Katharina Fourier, Director of the DAAD and DWIH in São Paulo. So finally, Katharina, the floor is yours, so you can welcome everyone.
Laura. Prezadas colegas e
Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to welcome you to this very special symposium today. As the director of DAAD in Brazil and DWIH São Paulo, I'm really excited to see how this forum brings together scientists, artists, decision makers, politicians, and students from Brazil and Germany to discuss together the urgent issues related to planetary health. The concept of planetary health makes it unquestionably clear that human health is intrinsically connected to the health of our planet. Climate change, the degradation of the environment, and social inequalities are not isolated challenges. They are interconnected and require from us interdisciplinary response and also innovative and above all collective responses. Martius Revisited 3 aims to do exactly that by connecting perspectives from natural, social, and human science to artistic and practical approaches. What I find particularly fascinating is the diversity of formats in this event, from roundtables and workshops to virtual exchange platforms and art exhibitions. This shows in an impressive way that knowledge transfer does not occur only through scientific publications or academic debates, but also through creative expressions that trigger emotions and encourage reflection. DAAD and DWIH São Paulo support this initiative with full conviction. Our mission is to connect people and knowledge across disciplines, across countries, and between different perspectives. The global network of German Centers of Science and Innovation, the DWIH, have chosen global health as the topic for the year of 2025. This was a strategic decision at a time when we need to rethink health sciences. Our recent global crisis, pandemics and environmental disasters, including social inequalities, show that health cannot be treated in isolation, and it should be treated within a broader planetary context. The concept of planetary health leads us to a paradigmatic rethinking. It's no longer enough to think about health within isolated or sectorial boundaries. We must understand health as an integral part of a healthy planet. And this begs fundamental questions, such as how can we quickly transform scientific discoveries into political and social action? How can innovation contribute to sustainable and resilient health systems? And how can we structure international knowledge exchange so that it benefits everyone? These are the central questions that DWIH São Paulo seeks to answer, bringing together actors from Brazil and Germany to develop new perspectives and build long-term partnerships. And that is precisely the aim of this symposium, to bring different areas of knowledge closer together, to open up new perspectives and strengthen lasting academic partnerships. This is why I'm especially happy to see here today so many outstanding scientists, artists, and professionals from Brazil and Germany. A special thanks to Professor Schneider, Vice President for Research at the Humboldt University zu Berlin, who today represents not only the Humboldt University, but also the Berlin University Alliance. Together with the Technische Universität Berlin and the Freie Universität Berlin, this academic network further enhances the cooperation between Germany and Brazil in this field of research. Another special greeting to you, University of São Paulo, represented here today by our colleague Sergio Proença, Director of Alcani. The University of São Paulo has been a pillar in strengthening academic relationships between Brazil and Germany, consolidating strategic partnerships and promoting scientific exchange. Its solid collaborations with German universities represented at this event are fundamental to the advancement of joint research. I would like to highlight some of the projects in the area of global and planetary health that my colleague Laura Kemmer, the holder of the Martius Chair, has informed me and that are being represented here today. The Probo project, Planetability, is an inspiration for scaling global health and courses and formation recoil that colleagues from the University of Berlin are working on and have been working on over the last few years, and that will be presented tomorrow. These collaborations are not only scientifically valuable, they represent a concrete example of science diplomacy and contribute significantly to addressing today's global challenges. However, the debate we begin today will not end with the conclusion of this symposium. The FOBI conference, for example, the largest event for the internationalization of higher education in Brazil, which will take place in Brasilia in April, will be a new opportunity for us to deepen this discussion. as well as various DAAD and DWIH events over the coming months. Also, at the political level, the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP30, which will take place in Berlin in November 2025, will also be a crucial space for dialogue about the intersections between climate change, the environment, and health. I would like to thank all the organizers for their tireless work. Thank you, Laura, and the team in making this event possible. I wish you all inspiring discussions, new collaborations, and above all, the courage to rethink global health in a holistic way. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you, Laura, for the invitation. I'm honored to be here representing the University of São Paulo, and I would like to welcome you. I won't be able to, speak better than Katharina because she was really brilliant and has highlighted the importance of this event. But I would like to say a few words from the standpoint of our agency. The internationalization is what is happening in the university, and we want to encourage this more and more. And it's not because I'm the president of an agency from USP that we are saying that internationalization should be done in USP. What we have to do is to support what has been done individually in other sectors of the university. And this is an example of something that's very successful, a very successful action, and that has recently been able to transform through work and provide results. And I'm aware of results of some events, important results, the importance of works of professors who are here today, Professor Saraiva and others from the University of São Paulo. But I think that the partnerships that we try to construct, and in this case, in the agency, we try to reinforce institutional partnerships, those that involve the university from the Berlin Alliance have been fundamental to us. And we have just had a discussion about perspectives of enlarging and expanding these collaborations. So I'm sure this event is a new contribution, and this contribution has been very important for our students in a transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary way, which is even more interesting. I'm an engineer, for example. So is Professor Saraiva. But sustainability includes several aspects. As an engineer, I cannot resist, when we think about global health, about sanitation, and the treatment and studies of water resources, which is something that is related to engineering, but we also work with humanities in a broader scale. And I can also say a few words about the possibilities of using AI and instruments that are quite fashionable right now, but these tools are here to stay, and they will impact our attitudes and decisions because these tools allow us to analyze large amounts of data and direct this to several policies. And I think that the interaction between humanities and technology is something that is here to stay. One needs the other. Otherwise, something's going to be missing. And when it comes to defining policies, then the conversation really has to be effective. So without further ado, let us focus on our event and listen to our colleagues and guests, Professor Christoph, Professor Paulo. I wish you all a wonderful event, and thank you very much for an invitation.